Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. Today's video is super exciting because today is our official 1-year anniversary of project panning. I cannot believe it's already been a year. Time literally flies by so quickly, but this whole year of project panning officially has been so much fun. It's been one of my favorite videos to film every single month, and I'm so happy that you guys love it and it has inspired you guys to project pan as well. I have learned so much from doing this, and like I have mentioned, I have always project panned, but I've never kept track of it, and every single month just seeing the progress has been really eye-opening, honestly. And today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's our 1-year anniversary. I'm gonna give you my regular update like how I normally would, but after that I'm just gonna talk about my experience on project panning. And over the course of the past year, I have been keeping track of everything. I have my notes and everything that I'm just gonna share my stats on. In my last update, I asked you guys to ask me some questions, and I'll be answering some of that today as well. There will be timestamps in today's video because it's going to be fairly long, but shout out to Kelly Gooch for inspiring me to start project panning. It's all because of her that I really want to keep track of everything. So I definitely will leave Kelly's channel down below in my description if you haven't already checked her out. I'm sure you have. I love her. But yeah, shout out to Kelly because she's the one that really inspired me to start this, and I'm so happy that I did. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into my regular update. So as always, let's start off with my two primers. Let's go ahead and have a look at the Hemish Artlist Glow Base. I do want to say that this marker is pretty good, this metallic gold marker. I bought this little wax seal set off AliExpress and it came with this metallic pen, and it's pretty good. It doesn't rub off like my other Sharpie. It stays on, so I'll be using this gold pen now. Last month we were about here, and looking through the bottle, wow, we made a lot of progress. We're literally at the bottom of the tube. We're right under the Hemish logo. I feel like the more I use this primer, the more I love it, hence I guess the jump that I have been using it. And probably in the next month we might be done with this, considering the gap from last month. That's a big jump, and this is definitely a primer I would repurchase. I really can't see myself not using this in my makeup routine, but yeah, once I finish this I probably most likely will repurchase. Maybe I'll finish off another primer and then repurchase this, but love this primer, and that progress is crazy, very crazy actually. And then for my other primer, I have the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. The pan is huge, it's just getting bigger and bigger. We just literally only have the framing of the primer now. I would give this maybe another 2 months, perhaps 2 or 3 months. Even though it doesn't look like there's a lot left, there's still a lot of product at the outer rim, but this one is really satisfying to see every single month, so that's the update on this one. And then for my all-nighter foundation, I would say we are probably around here. The marking is pretty even for the past couple of months since this has joined our plan, and the reason for that I feel like is just because there's a really full coverage. I don't use too much. I would say I probably use half a pump of this, so that's why I guess the progress is smaller than other products like my primers where I do take a lot more product, but nonetheless it's still good progress. For my concealer, I can't mark this, but my progress on this in my mind probably isn't a lot, just because I haven't really been using this concealer because my eye area has been really sensitive in the past month and it's been really dry. So this concealer is not the most hydrating concealer, if you know what I mean. I wouldn't wear this on my dry eye days. You know, you just have those days where your skin's a little bit drier. This eye, oof, on my lid, it's flaking off how dry it is. It's just because I've been rubbing it. It's been rubbed against tissue and stuff like that. So it's, you know, I've had a hard month. So that's the reason why I haven't been using this concealer as much, but I have been using it to clean up my brows and for other purposes, but not really around my eyes, which is where I mainly use it. But I'm still gonna just keep this in the plan because I do want to finish this. And then we have my loose powder from Laura Mercier. I don't even know if I want to mark this, but we don't have a lot of this left. I would say we're right at the bottom. I'm just gonna give an estimate marking over here. I'm gonna give this another month because I think we can finish this. And thinking about it, I haven't had this one for that long. My previous loose powder that was in the plan, I feel like took me so much longer to finish, but this one I finished, I feel so quickly. But I'm gonna give my rough estimate to be over here. As for my pressed powder, I feel like the pan in this is getting a lot bigger. And I'm also surprised about this one as well. I didn't expect the pan to be so big, but I think we're getting there. I would probably give this another maybe 3 to 4 months, but the pan is looking good. And then for my setting mist, we are about over here, and I will probably give this one another month as well. I think I can finish this in a month considering the gapping between each month. That looks like I can do it in a month, and I've actually been using this in more ways than just spraying my face. I saw a hack on TikTok where you spray like your foundation and then you apply it and it gives you like a really nice finish. So I started doing that. So I've been using this in more ways now. Let's move into my eyebrow products. Okay, let's start off with my eyebrow pencils. I think the Jason Wu one will probably have a little bit more progress than my Winky Lux one, of course. That's just the normal thing here. I feel like what I learned through this project pan is that triangle brow pencils will last you forever. And I know Kelly, she's going through a triangle brow pencil as well, and then every time she talks about it, I'm like, girl, I feel you, because these triangle brow pencils, the never ending, I feel. And then for my brow powder from Jason Wu, that middle brow powder shade, I feel like the pan definitely has gotten slightly bigger. I think last month we just hit pan on it, so this month definitely the pan is getting a lot bigger. For my brow cream from M Cosmetics, this has gotten a little bit dry. I feel like there's not as much product left in it. I'm gonna give this a couple more months. I feel like I still can work with it. It's fine, no problem. For my eye primer, so I think way back when, maybe early in the year, I estimated I would be done with this in August, and I'm just a little bit off. I think in the next month, for sure, like when I squeeze product out of here, like I'm really like trying to squeeze in, and I think in the coming month I probably will have to cut this open, do a little surgery, scoop out what I can, but I don't think there's going to be much in here. And I'm actually quite sad that this is going. For the past year, I've been using this every single time I do my eye makeup. Before this, I never used an eye primer, so once this is gone, I don't think I would repurchase it. We'll see how I feel, but I think in the next month, this will be gone. And for my eyeshadow palette that's been in my pan for the past year, I haven't really made any progress on this in the past month. I probably used it like once or twice, just not a lot. I've been really busy with a lot of palettes, so I haven't had the chance to use this one as much, but I'm happy with how much progress I have made in the past year. Like, you know, we hit pan on 3 shadows. These 2 over here in the corners are probably gonna hit pan soon, eventually. So I'm happy about that, but in the past month, probably not as much progress. And then I have my eyeliner from ColourPop and Honey Dude. I think there's gonna be a little bit of a difference from the previous month because a little bit, just a little bit did snap off, and I've actually been using this one a lot in my eye look, so I think there'll be good progress on this one. And then we have my 2 mascaras. My Hamish one, unfortunately, we gotta say goodbye. It's been so good. And although I do have a backup, I'm trying not to open it because I do have a lot of mascaras that are currently open right now that I do just want to get through, so I'm just gonna hold off. But it's really hard not to, because honestly my favorite mascara, this one is all gone, all finished, so we can add that into my stats. I gotta remember to add that in. But my So Extra mascara, this one is still going strong, still a lot of product. I feel like it's slightly drier from the past month when I first added this in, but it's still going good. It's not my favorite mascara. I really am just like using it to finish it, but there's an update on that. And now onto my cheeks. Not much progress on my Kaleidos Charisma Contour Palette, surprisingly. I feel like for the past year, every month, this has had good progress, but in the past month, I was actually testing out a liquid bronzer and a stick bronzer, so I didn't really use this one as much as I normally did. So there might be like a little bit of progress, but probably not too significant. I really do feel like this coming month in the contour, we're gonna have a pan. Like, I just feel it. I just feel it. And then for my blush that I do love but haven't really been using, this is the ColourPop Coast to Coast blush. I probably used it like twice in the past month, and we're gonna talk about this blush. It is going to leave the plan. Let's just say that, but we'll talk about it. And then for my highlighter, Fuego from Dose of Colors, that pan I definitely feel like has gotten a little bit bigger. And actually, like, if I'll try to zoom in the camera and the cutaways so you guys can see it, but there is just a teeny tiny pan right next to the big pan, which means it's probably gonna break off a little bit, and the pan will get bigger. So I have a good feeling about next month's update that this pan will be bigger. And then lastly, we have my 2 lip products. Let's talk about Rise and Shine first. I'm still going through it. I'm still scraping through it. I feel like in the past month, I didn't use it as much as the month before that. So I really did think I could finish it this coming month, but maybe this coming month, maybe not. Maybe I'll give it 2 more months, to be honest, because there's a lot of products inside. And then lastly, we have my ColourPop Luxe Oil in the shade Hot Shot. I cannot mark it again this month just because I really can't like see through the packaging. But what shows good progress is that all of the marking on the packaging is completely gone. It's just like a naked tube now. So that means I have been, you know, using it a lot, but not enough where I could see any markings, hopefully next month. So that was just my regular update. I feel like we made fairly good progress. We didn't really finish anything besides my mascara. Everything else, I feel like in the next update, we're gonna have a lot of empties, but I feel like this one was just like a stepping stone to get there. So yeah, that was my update. Now, let me look at my notes. What are we talking about next? Let's talk about, let's talk about my stats. Let's talk about my notes. So for the past year, I've been writing every single product that has entered my plan and then products that I have used up. I've crossed everything out. So what my stats tell me, and my stats are not, don't get expectations too high. My stats tell me that I have entered 41 products in the past year, and then the total number of products that I have finished is 20, which means half of the products that I added into my plan I ended up finishing. It does say here that some of the things were expired, so I didn't completely finish the entire thing, so I did have to get rid of it or declutter it, but for the most part, overall, I did finish up 20 products and I did get rid of 20 products through my plan. And I genuinely think that if I didn't do this plan, I wouldn't have finished 20 products. There are some products that I added in just to finish it. Like for example, the ColourPop Luxe Lip Oils. I wouldn't have added that in if I wasn't doing this plan. It's not that I don't like it, it's just I got them and then I stored them away and I just kind of forgot about them when I didn't really consciously think that how can I add this into my routine naturally where I can use it and not let it expire. And I already finished one, I'm on to my next one, and I'll be on to my 3rd one soon. So just for example, but that's really great. I was really surprised by that number. And then I did a little tally here of the products that were added in. Products that I've added in most into my plan is primers, which I've added in 5, and then 5 brow pencils, and then 4 mascaras. So those 3 products I feel like is what I go through a lot. I would say for primer it's because I add more than one. Like right now I have 2 primers in the plan, so that one is, you know, questionable. But brow pencils for sure, I know I already go through those a lot. You guys have seen me without any brows on. It is very, very sparse, so I do rely heavily on my brow pencil. So that was, I already knew I go through brow pencils a lot. It's a product that I repurchase a lot. Mascaras, I was kind of surprised, but mascaras is more like, you know, they tend to dry out quicker, so I can see why the number is 4. But then in the like medium category, we entered 3 face mists, 3 lip products, and 3 eyeliners. These ones I can understand. The eyeliner, it's pencil eyeliners, and I think they were all ColourPop eyeliners, and I remember a lot of them snapping, so they did finish fairly quickly. And then we just have products that I only switched out like once. So foundation, so I just finished up 1 foundation, 1 concealer, I finished up 1 loose powder, 1 pressed powder, and then 1 brow powder, 1 brow gel, and then 1 blush. And then the products that have not changed since the beginning, since I started this plan, is my eye primer, my eyeshadow palette, and then my highlighter. These 3 products did not change at all, did not swap. They have been in the plan since the beginning, and I can totally see why. These are the products that I feel like, you know, you don't really use so much of. Eye primer, it will last you forever because you only use a little. The eyeshadow palette, I do so many reviews on my channel focusing on eyeshadows, so that was to be expected. And then highlighter, again, my preference for highlighter, maybe back in like, I don't know, 2014, the pan might be a lot bigger, but the pan of a highlighter is so big that you really don't need a lot. And my preference for highlight, I don't use a lot of highlighter in general, although it does look like I have a lot on. That is the tally. That's really interesting. Some things were more surprising than others. So I do have some questions here asked from you guys in my previous update. I just picked out a couple because I already know this video is going to be quite long. So the first question is, what's the easiest, what's the hardest, what's the most satisfying products to pan? So through this past year, I think the hardest thing to pan is, of course, a triangle brow pencil. Like, I truly feel like it's never ending. Considering how fast I go through like a normal brow pencil, I thought it would be fairly similar, but for some reason these just don't make a lot of progress. And I would say blush takes a long time as well. It takes a long time to pan. And then probably eyeshadow. Eyeshadow is subjective, it really depends. I feel like an eyeshadow palette would be very, very easy to pan if that's your only palette and you use it every day. Like, for example, like if I didn't do reviews on YouTube and this was my only eyeshadow palette, definitely this would have been gone, like long gone for sure. But because I do a lot of reviews and I don't use this one as often, this is the result that I got. But it's a pretty good result, you know what I mean? But like, let's say this was my only palette, this would be finished. And then also with a lot of eyeshadow palettes, you might not like every single shade, you might not use every single shade, so that could be another aspect of, you know, finishing up a product. But for a palette like this, I love every single shade, I use every single shade, and yeah, so I love that. Easiest to pan, which I kind of already mentioned in my tally, is an eyebrow pencil, because I have very sparse brows, that's only natural. And then I would probably say primers, because like I just love having like a hydrated base, so maybe primers would have to be one. Most satisfying is products that like are in this kind of packaging. I just have all my products here, that's why I'm looking down. But yeah, I would say products like this is very satisfying to see, especially when you see the comparison side by side from last month and then the current month. That's very satisfying to see. This is very satisfying to me, like wow, this looks well loved, you know. And then another question was the average time on panning. So for me personally, you know, we all have different situations. For the past year, I have been at home, like regardless of COVID, like things happen and I left my job and I had to rely on YouTube as my income. So for the past year, I've been at home every single day, which means I have been putting on makeup every single day. And for a lot of people, I know that's the reverse. Because of COVID, because you're working from home, you don't wear makeup. But for me, it was the opposite. When I actually had like, you know, an outside job where I had to go out, I wouldn't wear makeup because I've always worked in hospitality and I just don't wear makeup when I would go to my jobs. Back then, let's say like in 2019, when I had YouTube and a separate job, and my separate job, I wouldn't wear makeup to work. I probably would just like put brows on, but nothing else. And then I would wear makeup. So I probably would only wear makeup like 3 to 4 times a week, maybe even less than that. But then in the past year, and especially when I started my project pan, I've been wearing makeup literally every single day. I feel like my progress might be a little bit faster, but I would just say averagely, and just speaking for the average people, I would say most products can take you like a year. If that's the only thing you're using, it will last you about a year. A foundation will last you a year, a concealer will last you a year. If that's what you're using every single day, I feel like you can finish it in a year if you're just focused on that, if that makes sense. The next question is a really good one. It says, how do you decide what products to add into your project pan, and do you ever get bored of the product? So for me, all of these products I would just use normally and naturally. I'm a person that I like to focus on one thing and then I'll move on to the next thing. Even if I wasn't doing this plan, if I have a foundation, I will focus on that foundation, use it up, and then move into the next foundation, if that makes sense. Naturally for me, I just add in products that I use on the everyday because I would do that anyway. I'm a person of habit, of routine. I like using the same thing. It's the same thing with this room, okay? Like, I've been focusing on redoing my beauty room and I have left the other parts of the house completely messy. I can't focus on multiple things at once. Like, I just want to focus on this room. Once this room is done, I'll move on to the next room. And it's like that with makeup, you know, like I'll focus on one thing. So for me, it's very natural. And if you're not like that, that's completely fine, of course. I would say just add in products that you naturally use. Don't add in products that like, oh, I have to use this, because once you do add something that you feel like you have to use it, you probably start slacking off in your panning. And you know, makeup is all fun. Like, don't force yourself to use something you don't want to use, you know what I mean? Like for my blush, for example, I didn't feel like, okay, I have to use this because it's my plan and I gotta show you guys some progress. I don't think like that. Like, if I don't want to use it, I'm not gonna use it, you know? Like, it's my makeup, you know, it doesn't have to be so serious. And I think once it gets so serious, you know, it kind of loses the fun of makeup. Yeah, I don't get bored of my products because I love all the products that I add into my plan. And the next question is pretty fun. It says, would I repurchase a Rise and Shine? I think when I added Rise and Shine, maybe those of you guys that watch my videos a lot know that this is like my holy grail lip product and it's my favorite. Like, why would I put this in the plan? Why would I want to finish it? But for me, I only had a little bit of it left and I was like, because I love it so much, like why wouldn't I want to use it? You know, it's just gonna go bad eventually. So would I repurchase? No. Even though I love this and I would still hype it up, I will still be the unofficial ambassador for Rise and Shine. I'll give myself that. But because my lip category is so big and I do have shades that are similar in the same formulation, I don't really think it's necessary for me to purchase another one. I do want to get through some of my other lip products, and I do have some shades that are very similar. There was like 2 in the Animal Crossing lineup that look a lot like this, although it's not the same. Nothing will be the same as Rise and Shine, but it's fairly similar. And I think at the end of the day, you know, it still looks good. I still feel good in it. I think Rise and Shine will be the best, but I still feel good with the other lip crowns, and I don't think I need to purchase another one because I'll be just adding more into my collection, and I just want to, you know, finish up all of my other makeup that I will never ever end up finishing in my lifetime. And the next question says, how has Project Pan changed your view of makeup? It has changed it a lot. I think first, when I buy makeup now, I'm more aware of what I have in my collection and like, am I really gonna use this? Because I feel like before, I was still mindful. Like I wouldn't just bombard myself with a lot of things, and I really couldn't afford it. But yeah, it's different. And also, I've also realized how long it actually takes for you to finish up a product. I felt like back then, before I started, I kind of had like an idea like, oh, a foundation will take me about a year. But you know, time flies and you lose track of time. I feel like in the beginning, I would guess, oh, I'll be done with this in a month. I'll be done with this in 2 months. But in reality, I was done with it in 6 months. Like I didn't know that it took you much longer to finish a product because I didn't have a sense of timing because I never kept track of anything. But I've been keeping track every single month for the past year. I feel like I have a better estimation of how long it's going to take me to finish up a product, which adds into me purchasing makeup. Because let's say I have this primer, right? So I'm like, oh, I think it's going to take me about 2 to 3 months to finish this. Maybe I'll hold off on buying a primer for now. I still got this one to finish up, you know? If that makes sense. And then before I let you guys go, because I already know this video is going to be super long, I just want to talk about how we're going to be moving forward with my plan. Not much is going to change. I'm still going to give you guys my monthly updates after this. Of course, everything's going to be normal, but I am going to be taking some things out of my plan. So I'm going to be taking out products that I can't really mark, which is not a lot. It's essentially just the mascara, the brow cream. Yeah, that's pretty much it, because everything else I can mark. In the past year, every time that I would talk about it, I would feel like a little like, I don't know, a little dumb because you couldn't like see the progress. You're only taking my word from it, and I feel like it wasn't as interesting to show. So yeah, I'm just gonna be taking these products out of the plan. I'll still be using them in, you know, my day-to-day life, but just showing you guys, I just want to show you like progress. You know what I mean? And then I'm also going to be taking out my blush from ColourPop Coast to Coast, and I'm going to change it to my Too Faced one, and I Will Always Love You. I have been loving this blush, and I have been using this one a lot more than my ColourPop one, so this is just going to be a switch. Everything else I think is going to keep the same. I'm going to still keep in the eyeshadow palette. Everything else still looks good. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you for enjoying this series on my channel as well. I truly do appreciate it so much. And if you guys did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up for me. I would appreciate it so much. And with that being said, I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye!